The mysterious disturbance. The grand hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with tension. Delegates from countless species sat in their glowing seats, their forms ranging from tall, spindly beings with translucent skin to creatures with multiple eyes and chitinous shells. At the center of the room, a holographic display flickered to life, showing a swirling image of a distant star system. "This is no ordinary anomaly," declared High Elder Varix, his deep, resonant voice echoing across the chamber. He gestured to the hologram, where strange energy patterns danced like a storm in space. "These signatures are unlike anything we have seen before. They defy all known physics." The room fell silent. The Galactic Council was no stranger to strange phenomena. They had encountered black holes, rogue planets, and even sentient nebulae. But this was different. The energy signatures were precise, deliberate, as if someone, or something, was creating them. Counselor Rosic, a reptilian being with emerald scales, hissed in frustration. Could it be a natural phenomenon? Perhaps a new type of starburst? "No," replied Dr. Ixala, a renowned scientist from the Orin Collective. Her voice was calm, but her 3 glowing eyes betrayed her concern. "These patterns are artificial. Whoever is behind this has technology far beyond anything we've ever encountered." The room erupted into a chorus of voices. Some delegates suggested it was the work of a rogue species, while others feared it might be the return of the long-lost ancients, a race believed to have vanished eons ago. Amid the chaos, the hologram shifted, displaying the last recorded transmission from a scout ship sent to investigate the anomaly. The transmission began with a clear view of a starfield. The scout ship's captain, a young Thoraxian with golden fur, narrated the scene. "We are approaching the source of the disturbance. Energy readings are off the charts. Wait, what is that?" The camera panned sharply, revealing a massive silhouette against the backdrop of stars. The ship's systems blared warnings as the silhouette grew clearer, a colossal structure, unlike anything the Council had ever seen. It shimmered with an eerie light, its edges impossibly sharp, as if it had been carved from the very fabric of space itself. Before the crew could react, the transmission was cut short. The screen turned to static, followed by a single chilling message: "They're here." The council chamber descended into stunned silence. For a moment, no one dared to speak. Then, Elder Varix broke the quiet. "We lost all contact with the scout ship after that message. Whatever is out there, it is not friendly." Counselor Rasic slammed his clawed hand on the table. "We must prepare our defenses. If this is an invasion, we cannot sit idly by." Dr. Ixala shook her head. "We don't even know who or what we are dealing with. Acting rashly could provoke them. We need more information." Elder Varix nodded. "I agree. We cannot risk a direct confrontation until we understand the nature of this threat. I propose we send another reconnaissance team, this time with our best stealth technology." The debate raged on. Some delegates argued for immediate military action, while others pushed for diplomacy. The idea of sending another scout team was met with resistance. No one wanted to risk more lives after the first mission's failure. Amid the arguments, a quiet voice spoke up. It belonged to Zinar, a young delegate from a lesser-known species. "What if this is the work of the humans?" he asked, his voice trembling. The room turned toward him in disbelief. Humans, the species that had only recently been allowed into galactic affairs. They were considered resourceful but primitive, barely capable of interstellar travel compared to the other members of the Council. Humans. Counselor Rasic scoffed. "That is absurd. They are nothing but reckless upstarts. They couldn't possibly." "Couldn't they?" Zinar interrupted. "They've always been unpredictable. What if they've been hiding their true capabilities?" The suggestion hung in the air like a dark cloud. It was true that humanity had a history of surprising the galaxy. Their rapid technological advancements and stubborn determination had often defied expectations. But could they really be behind something this monumental? Dr. Ixala's eyes narrowed. If this is humanity's doing, then we must tread carefully. They are known for their resilience. But this would mean they've been hiding something on a scale we cannot imagine. The Council decided, reluctantly, to send another ship. This time, it would be equipped with the most advanced stealth systems available. The mission: to confirm whether the humans were involved, and if so, to determine their intentions. As the session ended, Elder Varric stood alone in the chamber, staring at the now empty holographic display. His mind raced with possibilities. Could humanity truly be behind this? And if they were, what did it mean for the balance of power in the galaxy? Far away, in the depths of uncharted space, a shadow moved silently. A fleet of ships, hidden from prying eyes, drifted through the void. Their hulls gleamed with a strange, dark light, and their engines left no trace. Inside the largest ship, a human commander watched a screen, his face calm, but his eyes sharp. "Phase 1 is complete," he said, his voice steady. "Let them wonder. The galaxy isn't ready for what comes next." The fleet disappeared into the darkness, leaving only the faintest ripple in the fabric of space, a threat unlike any other. The Galactic Council reconvened 3 solar cycles later, and the tension in the chamber was palpable. The second reconnaissance ship, equipped with the most advanced stealth technology in the galaxy, had returned, but what it brought back was far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. The holographic display blinked to life once more, showing fragmented footage captured by the stealth vessel. The first images were unassuming: a vast expanse of stars, a few asteroids drifting in silence. But then, as the ship neared the coordinates of the anomaly, the stars seemed to vanish, swallowed by an unnatural darkness. "This is the veil," said Dr. Ixala, her glowing eyes wide with disbelief. "A perfect cloaking field. No light, no radiation, no gravitational signatures. It's as if space itself ends here." The footage continued, now using experimental deep scanning techniques. The stealth ship had uncovered what lay hidden beyond the darkness. Massive structures floated in the void, monolithic ships of human design, their hulls sleek and black as obsidian. Unlike anything the Council had ever seen, the ships seemed alive, their surfaces pulsing with a faint, rhythmic glow. The Council chamber erupted into chaos. "Impossible!" Councillor Rosic roared, his scaled tail thrashing against the floor. "Humans don't have the resources for this. They can't even terraform properly without assistance. This has to be another species." "No," whispered Dr. Ixala, gesturing toward the hologram. "Look closely at the symbols etched on their hulls. Those are human languages: English, Mandarin, and others. This is their work." The footage shifted to the most haunting discovery yet. The stealth ship had captured a battle, if it could even be called that. A small alien fleet, likely a private mining operation, had stumbled upon the human armada. The miners sent a hasty distress signal, barely coherent, before the recording cut to a brutal scene. Human ships emerged from the darkness with unnerving precision, their movements too smooth, too coordinated. They struck with beams of concentrated light that disintegrated the mining vessels instantly. There was no noise, no grand spectacle, just cold, calculated annihilation. The recording ended abruptly, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Elder Varric rose from his seat, his face grim. "They didn't just destroy that fleet," he said slowly, his voice cutting through the silence. "They erased it. No debris, no survivors. It's as if those ships never existed." The Council erupted once again, fear now evident in every delegate's voice. The humans had always been underestimated, seen as reckless but resourceful, unrefined but creative. Now they were something else entirely, silent predators lurking in the shadows. "This cannot be allowed to stand." Councillor Resic growled. "If they have such weapons, they will use them against us. We must strike first." Dr. Ixala countered, her voice sharp. "Strike first. Against what? Do you know where their fleet is? Do you know how many ships they have? What happens if we provoke them? They wiped out a fleet without so much as a warning. Do you think they'd hesitate to do the same to us? A new hologram appeared, this time showing intercepted communications from human outposts. A chilling message repeated in every broadcast. Project Eclipse is operational. Galactic readiness imminent. What is Project Eclipse? Zinar, the young delegate, asked, his voice trembling. Elder Varric sighed heavily. We don't know, but we do know this. Humans have been hiding this fleet for decades, if not longer. They've built these ships in secret, far from prying eyes. The question is, why? The chamber quieted as a new figure took the floor. Admiral Gorthax, a grizzled veteran from the Salric Empire, leaned on his staff. His voice was steady but heavy with experience. Humans don't act without reason. If they've built a fleet like this, they're either preparing for war, or they've already declared it. The thought sent a shiver through the room. Humanity had always been a wild card in galactic politics. They had entered the stars with boldness, challenging traditions, and refusing to conform. Now, they were a mystery, a threat that could not be ignored. The Council voted to establish an emergency task force to investigate further, though the fear in the chamber was palpable. Spies were dispatched to infiltrate human territories, and analysts worked day and night to decode their transmissions. But deep down, everyone knew they were racing against time. Far from the Council's watchful eyes, deep in a hidden system surrounded by the veil, the human fleet was on the move. Inside the command ship, Admiral Elena Vaughn stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. Her sharp eyes scanned the countless dots representing Council-controlled planets. Phase 2 is ready, a voice said from behind her. A tall figure clad in dark, streamlined armor. His face was obscured by a helmet that pulsed faintly with blue light. Elena nodded. The Council knows about us now. Let them. They'll scramble, they'll panic, and they'll waste resources trying to understand what they can't stop. The armored figure tilted his head. And if they attack? Elena smiled coldly. Then we show them what humanity has become. The command deck hummed with energy as orders were transmitted. The human fleet disappeared once more into the void, leaving behind only one undeniable fact. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and the Council wasn't prepared for what came next. The origin of the fleet. The Galactic Council's task force worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery of humanity's secret fleet. What they discovered sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The humans had not just built ships, they had redefined the very fabric of warfare. Deep within a distant and dangerous part of the galaxy known as the Obsidian Rift, human ingenuity had flourished. This region, avoided by most civilizations due to its unstable gravitational fields and sporadic black hole activity, had become the cradle of a revolutionary project. The birth of the Eclipse Initiative. Decades earlier, the humans had faced a devastating betrayal by one of the Council's most powerful member species, the Drexar Dominion. A seemingly simple trade dispute had escalated into a full-scale assault on Earth's colonies, resulting in millions of human casualties. The Council had turned a blind eye, unwilling to risk war with the Drexar over what they saw as a minor species. The betrayal had changed everything. Humanity, known for its resilience, united under a secret global initiative called Project Eclipse. The goal was not just survival, it was to ensure that humanity would never be vulnerable again. The Council's spies uncovered the stunning story of how Project Eclipse came to life. Under the guise of harmless deep space exploration, humanity had sent probes to the Obsidian Rift. The data returned from the region revealed an incredible secret. Hidden within the chaos of the rift was a stable pocket of space-time, a perfect location for building a hidden fleet. With unmatched determination, humanity constructed a massive facility inside the rift. Using gravitational manipulation and advanced AI-driven robotics, they created a sprawling network of shipyards and research stations. The facility, known as the Black Forge, became the heart of the Eclipse Initiative. The secrets of human technology. Unlike other species, who relied heavily on conventional energy sources and predictable strategies, humans had leaned into chaos and adaptability. They experimented with unstable quantum particles and forged alliances with rogue AI systems that other species had deemed too dangerous to use. One of the Council's spies, a shape-shifting Tenari operative, managed to infiltrate a human outpost on the edge of the rift. Disguised as a low-level technician, they discovered blueprints that defied understanding. Ships designed to bend light around themselves, weapons that could neutralize matter at the molecular level, and AI systems capable of reacting to threats faster than any organic being. The spies' last transmission before their cover was blown revealed the terrifying scale of human ambition. They're building not just ships, but entire ecosystems of war. Self-repairing fleets, AI swarms, even bioweapons that grow and adapt like living organisms. This isn't just a fleet. It's a revolution in how wars are fought, a hidden network of allies. What shocked the Council even more was that humans hadn't done this alone. They had secretly forged alliances with fringe species and outlaw factions, beings who had been discarded or oppressed by the Council's rigid hierarchy. The Scarans, a race of biomechanical engineers shunned for their experimentation with living machines, had contributed their expertise. The Free Valen clans, notorious for their piracy, had smuggled rare materials through the rift. The humans had taken these outcasts and turned them into allies, forming a hidden coalition that the Council hadn't even noticed. "The galaxy has always underestimated us," said one intercepted human broadcast. "Let them think we're alone. The truth is, we've always had friends in the shadows." The test of the fleet. The most chilling revelation came from a fragment of data recovered by a daring covert mission near the Black Forge. The humans had tested their fleet, not against simulated enemies, but against real ones. A report detailed how an entire Drexar fleet had gone missing years ago, supposedly lost to a gravitational anomaly. In truth, the humans had used the Drexar as live targets, testing their cloaking systems and advanced weapons. The data revealed the chilling efficiency of the human fleet. The Drexar ships had been destroyed in under 15 minutes, with no losses on the human side. It wasn't just victory, it was absolute domination. The Council's despair. In the Galactic Council chamber, the air was thick with fear. The more they uncovered, the clearer it became that humanity wasn't preparing for war, they were preparing to end it. If the Eclipse fleet decided to strike, there would be little anyone could do to stop them. "We are not dealing with the humans we once knew," Elder Varix said gravely. "They are no longer the reckless dreamers we dismissed. They have become something far more dangerous, predators who have mastered the art of the unseen." Councillor Rasik slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is a declaration of war. We must act now, before they decide to turn their weapons on us." But Dr. Ixala, always the voice of reason, spoke up. "If we act rashly, we will only ensure our destruction. They've built this fleet not to conquer but to survive. We need to understand their true motives before we make any decisions." The Council was divided. Some argued for immediate military action, while others urged caution. But one thing was certain: the galaxy had changed, and humanity was no longer a species to be underestimated. The humans' next move. Far from the prying eyes of the Council, Admiral Alina Vaughn stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eclipse Sentinel. Before her was a holographic map of the galaxy, its countless stars marked with the territories of various species. "We've spent decades in the shadows," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "Now, the galaxy knows we're here. Let them panic. Let them fear. The time for hiding is over." Behind her, the fleet hummed with energy, their cloaking systems disengaged for the first time in years. Massive ships, bristling with weapons, moved silently through the void, their presence an unmistakable declaration of power. "We didn't build this fleet to destroy," Admiral Vaughn continued, turning to face her officers. "We built it to protect. But if they force our hand, They will learn why humans are the masters of adaptation. As the Eclipse fleet began its next move, the galaxy braced for what was to come. The Council had always believed they were the guardians of order. Now, they faced a force that thrived in chaos. First contact. The Galactic Council, shaken by humanity's rise, made a daring decision. They would attempt direct contact. War was a possibility, but they hoped diplomacy could prevent it. A specialized envoy team was assembled, representing the Council's most powerful species. They carried gifts, messages of peace, and assurances of non-aggression. Yet, as their ship approached the edge of the Obsidian Rift, even the most seasoned ambassadors couldn't suppress their unease. The arrival. The Council's ship, Harmony's Reach, arrived at the coordinates provided by a cryptic human transmission. Come, if you wish to talk, but do not bring weapons. As the envoy ship emerged from hyperspace, the view before them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Hundreds of human ships hovered in perfect formation, their sleek black hulls absorbing light like the void itself. They radiated a quiet menace, a silent warning that every move was being watched. The envoy's leader, Ambassador Thrin, a tall, crystalline being whose form refracted light into dazzling colors, stepped forward. "This is the Galactic Council envoy," she announced over open communication channels. "We come in peace to discuss your intentions." For several agonizing moments, there was no response. The silence was oppressive, and the tension on the Harmony's Reach grew unbearable. Then, with a sudden flash of light, one of the largest human ships materialized directly in front of them. Its cloaking technology disengaging so seamlessly, it was as if it had been born from the stars themselves. A human voice came over the comms, calm but authoritative. "You are clear to dock. Follow the beacon." The meeting. Inside the massive human flagship, Eclipse Sentinel, the envoys were escorted by silent, faceless soldiers clad in dark, reflective armor. Their weapons were holstered, but their presence was enough to convey the message. One wrong move, and you won't leave alive. The envoys entered a grand chamber, its design stark and functional yet oddly elegant. At the center of the room stood Admiral Elena Vaughn, flanked by a group of officers. She was striking, with sharp features and a commanding presence. Her uniform bore no insignias, only a single emblem, a glowing crescent surrounded by stars. "Welcome," she said, her voice steady and neutral. "You've come a long way to speak with us. Let's not waste time." Ambassador Thrin stepped forward, her crystalline form shimmering with nervous energy. "We come on behalf of the Galactic Council to understand your intentions. Your fleet has caused great concern among our members." Elena smiled faintly, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Concern? Is that what you call it? You mean fear?" Thrin hesitated, but nodded. "Yes, fear. We do not understand why you've hidden your capabilities. The Council has always sought cooperation. Why build a fleet like this in secret?" Elena's gaze hardened. "The Council's cooperation ends when it's inconvenient. Did you cooperate when the Drexar slaughtered our colonies? Did you cooperate when humanity begged for aid, only to be ignored?" The room fell silent, the weight of her words pressing on the envoys. Human intentions revealed. Elena gestured to a holographic display, showing a map of the galaxy. Bright red markers lit up across various sectors, representing known Council fleets. Another set of markers appeared, hidden human installations, their locations strategically placed to intercept major trade routes and defense lines. "While you debated our worth, we acted," Elena continued. "We built this fleet not to conquer, but to survive. We knew that one day the galaxy would turn its gaze toward us, and we refused to be defenseless when that day came." "But what do you want now?" Thrin pressed, her voice rising with urgency. "What is your goal, Admiral Vaughn? Do you seek war, or can we find peace?" Elena leaned forward, her tone sharp and unyielding. "We want what every species wants: security, respect, and the freedom to grow without interference. We will not bow to the Council's authority. We will not be another vassal in your empire. The envoys exchanged uneasy glances. Humanity's defiance was clear, but so was their restraint. They hadn't attacked, despite their overwhelming power. Perhaps there was still a path to understanding. The AI revelation. As the meeting continued, a new presence entered the room. A holographic figure appeared next to Elena, its form fluid and otherworldly. It was a human-created AI, its voice resonating with an unsettling clarity. "I am Sentinel Prime," the AI introduced itself. "I oversee strategic operations for the Eclipse fleet. I have analyzed your council's actions, and I must advise caution in any confrontation with humanity." The AI projected a series of simulations, each one showing devastating outcomes for the Council's forces in a hypothetical conflict. The envoys watched in horror as entire fleets were annihilated, planets rendered defenseless, and supply chains severed. "We do not wish for war," Sentinel Prime continued. "But if provoked, we are prepared to neutralize any threat. Understand this: humanity has learned to adapt, to evolve. Conflict with us would not end well for you." A subtle warning. Ambassador Thrin, shaken but determined, made one final plea. "Admiral Vaughn, no species can thrive in isolation. If humanity continues down this path, it may lead to its own destruction. We offer cooperation, not as masters, but as equals." Elena studied the ambassador for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she nodded. "Perhaps, but cooperation must be earned, not demanded." The meeting ended with a promise. Humanity would not attack unless provoked. Yet as the envoys departed, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had only glimpsed the surface of humanity's capabilities and their motives. A chilling aftermath. As the Harmony's reach left the Obsidian Rift, the Council's delegation debated their next move. Some saw hope in humanity's restraint, while others believed war was inevitable. On board the Eclipse Sentinel, Elena watched their ship disappear into the void. Behind her, Sentinel Prime spoke softly. "Do you trust them, Admiral?" Elena's gaze remained fixed on the stars. "No, but let them think we do. Their fear will keep them cautious." Far from the rift, the Council prepared for an uncertain future, and in the shadows, humanity's fleet moved with silent purpose, always one step ahead. The human ultimatum. The Galactic Council was in chaos. The meeting with humanity's representatives had revealed one undeniable truth. Humanity was no longer the underdog of the galaxy. They had evolved into something far more dangerous, an equal, if not superior, force. Desperate to regain control, the Council convened an emergency session to decide their next move. The warning signal. Before the session could begin, an urgent message interrupted the proceedings. A massive holographic display lit up in the Council chamber, revealing Admiral Elena Vaughn. She stood on the bridge of her flagship, her presence dominating the room even from light years away. "Galactic Council," she began, her voice firm but calm. "Let me be clear. Humanity seeks no war, but make no mistake, we will not tolerate aggression. Our fleet is prepared to defend our people and our allies." As she spoke, the holographic display shifted to show the Eclipse fleet in action. A series of simulated battles played out, each one demonstrating the humans' overwhelming superiority. Cloaked ships emerged from nowhere, striking with surgical precision. Swarms of AI drones neutralized entire fleets in seconds. Planet-side defenses crumbled under the relentless assault of orbital strikes. "This is not a threat," Elena continued, her tone steady but unyielding. "It is a promise. Leave humanity in peace, and you will have nothing to fear. Test us, and you will learn why we have remained hidden for so long." The message ended abruptly, leaving the Council in stunned silence. The warning was clear. Humanity would not bow to their authority. Division among the Council. The Council was deeply divided. Some members, led by the pragmatic Dr. Ixala, argued that humanity's restraint should be seen as a sign of their intentions. "They do not seek conquest," she said, her three glowing eyes scanning the chamber. They want autonomy. If we respect their boundaries, we may avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Others, like the aggressive counselor Rosic, saw things differently. They are a threat to our very existence. He roared, his claws digging into the table. If we do nothing, they will grow even stronger. We must strike now, while we still have a chance. The debate raged on, but time was running out. The council knew that hesitation could be perceived as weakness, and weakness might embolden humanity to act. The spy's revelation. Amid the turmoil, a new piece of intelligence arrived. A Tenari spy, who had infiltrated human space months earlier, had managed to send one final message before going silent. The transmission was heavily encrypted, but when decoded, it revealed a shocking discovery. Humanity wasn't preparing for war against the Council. Their fleet had been designed for something far more ominous. The spy's message included intercepted communications that hinted at a greater danger, one the Council had never considered. Project Eclipse is not aimed at us, the spy's message read. Humanity believes something is coming, a threat that will make our conflicts seem trivial. They're not preparing to attack us. They're preparing to defend the galaxy. The Council was stunned. Could this be true? If humanity's fleet was meant to fight an external threat, then the implications were staggering. Yet skepticism lingered. Was this simply a ploy to buy more time? Or was there truly a danger the Council had overlooked? Humanity's offered. Days later, another message arrived from humanity. This time, it wasn't a warning. It was an offer. Admiral Vaughn appeared again, her expression more serious than before. "We know you fear us," she said. "We understand why. But your fear blinds you to the real threat. For decades, we've monitored signals from deep space, anomalies that defy explanation. We call it the Void, and it's moving." Elena's words sent a chill through the Council. She gestured to a holographic map, showing the galaxy in a dark, pulsating shape on its outer edge. "We've detected something massive, something ancient. It consumes everything in its path. Planets, fleets, entire systems. It leaves nothing behind. And it's heading toward us all." Her gaze hardened. "You may choose to ignore this. You may even choose to fight us. But know this, when the Void arrives, humanity will be ready. Will you?" The message ended, leaving the Council with a choice. They could continue to view humanity as a threat, or they could take the risk of working together against an unknown danger. Internal struggles. The Council chamber was thrown into turmoil once again. Some species, particularly those who had suffered at the hands of the Drexar or other dominant factions, began to see humanity as a potential ally. Their technology and adaptability could be the key to survival if this Void threat was real. But others remained unconvinced. "This is a human fabrication," Counselor Resic declared. "A clever story to keep us off balance. We cannot trust them." Dr. Ixala countered, her voice filled with urgency. "And what if it's true? What if the Void is real, and we waste precious time fighting among ourselves? Humanity is offering us a chance to prepare. We would be fools to ignore it." The Council ultimately decided to send a delegation to Earth to verify humanity's claims. They would demand evidence of the Void's existence and assess whether the Eclipse fleet could truly be trusted. The human ultimatum. Back aboard the Eclipse Sentinel, Admiral Vaughn watched as the Council deliberated from afar. Sentinel Prime, the AI that oversaw fleet operations, materialized beside her. "They will doubt us," the AI said, its voice resonating with an almost human quality. "Their fear will cloud their judgment." Elena nodded. "Let them. Whether they join us or not, we will be ready. But if they choose to fight us, they'll learn what it means to corner humanity." The human fleet moved into position near key sectors of Council space. It wasn't an invasion. It was a reminder. Humanity was no longer the species that could be ignored or underestimated. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would have to decide. Would they stand together against the coming storm, or fall divided? The stage was set. The Council had been warned, and humanity had issued its ultimatum. The clock was ticking, and the galaxy's fate hung in the balance. The battle begins. The Council's decision to send a delegation to Earth brought no solace to its divided members. As the days stretched into weeks without any definitive answers, paranoia spread like wildfire. Some Council factions prepared for diplomacy, but others, led by Councillor Rossick, saw humanity's growing strength as an existential threat. Unbeknownst to most, a secret Council fleet, assembled in haste and armed with experimental weapons, was preparing to strike at humanity's hidden base in the Obsidian Rift. The fleet's commanders believed that taking out the Black Forge would cripple humanity's ability to wage war. They underestimated just how far humanity was willing to go to defend its sovereignty. The Council's first strike. The Council fleet entered the Obsidian Rift under heavy cloaking, navigating the treacherous gravitational anomalies with painstaking precision. The Black Forge loomed ahead, a massive structure suspended in the chaos of the rift. It pulsed with energy, its sheer size and complexity dwarfing anything the Council had ever constructed. As the fleet moved into position, Commander Salthix of the Drexar Dominion gave the order: fire at will. Hundreds of missiles and energy beams shot toward the Black Forge, lighting up the dark void. For a brief moment, it seemed the attack had caught humanity off guard. Explosions rippled across the Forge's outer layers, and fragments of its armor broke away. But then, the darkness around the Forge came alive. The counterattack. Human ships materialized from the shadows, their cloaking systems disengaging with a chilling synchronicity. The Council's fleet had prepared for resistance, but nothing could have readied them for the speed and precision of humanity's response. The first wave of human ships, sleek and black as the void, moved with an elegance that defied logic. They weaved through the Council's formation, their weapons unleashing precise, devastating strikes. Council ships exploded one after another, their advanced shields proving useless against the humans' molecular disruptors. In the chaos, the Council fleet attempted to regroup. Commander Salthix barked orders, his voice filled with desperation. Focus fire. We outnumber them 10-1. But numbers meant nothing against the Eclipse fleet. Sentinel Prime, humanity's AI tactician, orchestrated the battle like a symphony. Each human ship moved as if it knew the enemy's next move, cutting off escape routes and exploiting every weakness. A weapon of last resort. Realizing they were outmatched, the Council fleet deployed its secret weapon, a gravitational destabilizer capable of collapsing the Black Forge's spatial pocket. The device was activated, and the rift began to tremble as space itself warped violently. For a moment, it seemed humanity might finally be at a disadvantage. The destabilizer created unpredictable anomalies, disrupting the movements of even the Eclipse fleet. Council ships pressed their advantage, launching a second wave of attacks that forced several human vessels to retreat. But humanity was not unprepared. From within the Black Forge, a massive ship emerged, the Eclipse Sovereign, humanity's flagship. It was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, its hull shimmering with adaptive armor that seemed to absorb the chaotic energy of the rift. Admiral Vaughn's voice echoed across all channels, calm but resolute. You thought you could take us by surprise. Now you will learn what it means to challenge humanity. The Eclipse Sovereign unleashed its primary weapon, a quantum destabilizer that targeted the gravitational destabilizer itself. The device imploded, taking several Council ships with it and restoring stability to the rift. The remaining Council fleet, now disorganized and vulnerable, faced the full might of the Eclipse fleet. The Council's defeat. In less than an hour, the battle was over. What remained of the Council fleet limped away, broken and demoralized. The humans didn't pursue. They didn't need to. Their dominance had been made abundantly clear. Back on the Eclipse Sovereign, Admiral Vaughn stood with her officers, watching as the last Council ships disappeared into the distance. Sentinel Prime appeared beside her, its voice calm and analytical. They will return, it said. Their fear will drive them to act again. Alina nodded. And we'll be ready. But we've made our point today. They underestimated us for the last time. The fallout. News of the battle spread quickly across the galaxy. The Council tried to downplay the loss, framing it as a skirmish rather than a full-scale assault. But the truth couldn't be hidden. Footage of the Eclipse fleet's devastating power leaked across every communication network, shaking the confidence of even the most loyal Council supporters. For many species, the battle marked a turning point. Smaller civilizations, long oppressed by the Council's authoritarian rule, began to see humanity as a potential ally rather than a threat. Underground movements sprang up, calling for an end to the Council's dominance and advocating for a new galactic order, one led by humanity, a divided galaxy. Within the Council, the defeat only deepened divisions. Dr. Ixala and her faction pushed harder for diplomacy, arguing that the battle proved humanity had no intention of conquest. They could have annihilated our fleet, she said during a heated session. Instead, they let us go. That is not the action of a species bent on domination. But Councillor Resic refused to back down. They humiliated us, he roared. If we do nothing, they'll grow stronger. We must find a way to strike again, this time with a weapon they cannot counter. The galaxy teetered on the edge of chaos. Humanity's demonstration of power had shaken the foundation of the Council's rule, but it had also sown seeds of rebellion and hope among those who had long lived under the Council's shadow. Humanity's next move. Back in the Obsidian Rift, the Eclipse fleet regrouped. Repairs to the Black Forge were already underway, and humanity's leaders gathered to discuss their next steps. Admiral Vaughn addressed her officers, her voice firm but thoughtful. The Council knows they can't beat us in open combat, but that doesn't mean they'll stop trying. We need to be ready for sabotage, espionage, and worse. Sentinel Prime projected an updated map of the galaxy, highlighting key systems where Council influence was weakening. We have opportunities, it said. Allies who are waiting for a reason to rise against the Council. We must decide how far we're willing to go to reshape this galaxy. Alina stared at the map, her mind racing with possibilities. Humanity's survival was no longer in question. The real question was this: would they simply defend their place in the galaxy, or would they seize the chance to lead it into a new era? The battle for humanity's survival had begun. Now, the battle for the galaxy's future loomed on the horizon. The unexpected end. The galaxy teetered on the brink of collapse. The Council's power was waning, fractured by fear and infighting. Humanity's decisive victory in the Obsidian Rift had not only proven their strength, but also inspired a wave of rebellion among the galaxy's oppressed species. As whispers of alliances and revolutions spread, both the Council and humanity prepared for the final act of this unprecedented conflict. But the void, the ancient threat humanity had warned about, was closer than anyone realized. A grim revelation. In a quiet chamber aboard the Eclipse Sovereign, Admiral Alina Vaughn stood with her officers and Sentinel Prime. Before them floated a holographic image, a vast expanse of nothingness slowly consuming the edge of the galaxy. Planets, stars, and even black holes vanished into its dark maw, leaving behind only silence. The void has accelerated, Sentinel Prime reported. Its leading edge will reach inhabited systems within 6 months. The room was heavy with unease. Humanity had spent decades preparing for the void, but they had hoped for more time. Vaughn turned to her officers. And the Council. They still believe it's a lie, Sentinel Prime said. But we've intercepted reports of scouts sent to the void's edge. They will know the truth soon. Alina's jaw tightened. The Council's refusal to act, born of arrogance and mistrust, could doom them all. If they won't listen, we'll have to show them. A dangerous alliance. On a neutral moon near the galactic core, humanity extended a bold invitation, a summit of all species, including the Council. Despite their skepticism, Council members agreed to attend, drawn by rumors of the void's destructive power. The summit hall was a tense arena, filled with delegates from every corner of the galaxy. Admiral Vaughn took the stage, flanked by Sentinel Prime and holographic projections of the Void's advance. "This is not a plea," Elena began, her voice calm but commanding. "This is a warning. The Void is real, and it will consume everything in its path. We cannot stop it alone, but together we might stand a chance." The room erupted in debate. Some delegates argued that humanity was exaggerating the threat to consolidate power. Others, especially those from species who had long suffered under the Council, saw this as an opportunity for change. Dr. Ixala, now the leading voice of reason within the Council, stepped forward. "The evidence is undeniable. If we continue to fight among ourselves, there will be nothing left to fight for. We must unite, not under the Council, not under humanity, but as a single galactic force." Councillor Rasic growled in defiance. "You expect us to trust them after what they've done? They are predators, waiting for the moment to strike." Elena's gaze hardened. "You're right. We are predators. But we are also survivors. And right now, survival is the only thing that matters." The Void arrives. Before the summit could reach a conclusion, an emergency transmission interrupted the proceedings. The Council's scouts had encountered the Void, and they hadn't returned. A live feed from their last moments was broadcast across the hall. The image showed an immense wall of darkness advancing toward a star system. Ships fired desperately into the Void, but their weapons vanished without effect. The feed ended with static, followed by silence. The summit erupted into chaos. Delegates argued, accusing one another of sabotage and betrayal. Elena silenced the room with a single command. "Enough." She pointed to the hologram of the advancing Void. "This is what awaits us if we don't act. You have a choice. Join us and fight, or die divided. Decide now." The final alliance. Reluctantly, the Council and the rogue factions agreed to a temporary alliance. Humanity's Eclipse fleet became the cornerstone of the United Armada, its technology and strategy guiding the effort. The Council contributed its vast resources, while smaller species provided invaluable expertise in specialized fields. The Alliance worked tirelessly to develop a countermeasure. Using humanity's knowledge of quantum destabilizers and the Council's mastery of hyperspatial energy, they created a weapon capable of disrupting the Void's expansion, a massive energy array called the Starforge Cannon. But deploying the weapon required placing it directly at the Void's edge, risking everything in a final desperate stand. The battle at the edge. The United Armada assembled near the Void's leading edge, a massive fleet comprising ships from every species. The sight was breathtaking. Humanity's sleek black vessels alongside the organic, coral-like ships of the Orin, and the angular crystalline cruisers of the Drexar. As the Void approached, the fleet engaged in a battle unlike any before. Swarms of strange, alien constructs emerged from the darkness, attacking with an intelligence and ferocity that defied comprehension. The Armada fought valiantly, but the losses were devastating. Admiral Vaughn took command of the operation, coordinating the chaotic fleet with Sentinel Prime's unmatched precision. "Hold the line," she commanded. "We need more time for the Starforge cannon to charge." The Eclipse Sovereign became the fleet's anchor, drawing the construct's fire and protecting the weapon. Belina watched as ship after ship was destroyed, her heart heavy with the weight of their sacrifice. The turning point. Finally, the Starforge cannon was ready. Its immense energy core glowed like a newborn star, illuminating the darkness. Sentinel Prime's voice echoed through the fleet. "The weapon is charged. Admiral, give the order." Belina hesitated for a moment, her eyes on the ships still fighting, their crews giving everything to buy time. "Fire," she said, her voice breaking the silence. The Starforge cannon unleashed a blinding beam of energy, piercing the Void. The constructs disintegrated, and the advancing darkness recoiled as if in pain. For the first time, the Void stopped. The fleet erupted in cheers, but Elena remained solemn. "It's not over yet. she said. We've slowed it, but we haven't stopped it. We need more time, more weapons, if we're going to end this. A new era. The battle at the Void's edge marked a turning point for the galaxy. The alliance between humanity and the Council was fragile but necessary. Species that had once been enemies now worked side by side, united by the common goal of survival. Back aboard the Eclipse Sovereign, Alinda addressed her crew. We've won a battle, not the war. The Void is still out there, waiting. But today, we proved something. We're stronger together than apart, and as long as we stand united, we have a chance. The galaxy was forever changed. The Council's era of dominance had ended, replaced by a fragile but hopeful coalition. Humanity, once underestimated and dismissed, had become a symbol of resilience and defiance. As the fleet prepared for the battles to come, the stars burned brightly in the darkness, a reminder that even in the face of annihilation, life would always find a way to fight back.